All right, welcome to section 2.10. Now we are looking at simplifying algebraic expressions. So simplifying algebraic expressions is actually when we're just going to be combining the two things we've learned previously, which is combining like terms. Actually, let me redo this one real quick. The two things that we learned in the previous video that we're going to be using here are distribution and combining like terms. Okay, so looking at part A, we're asked to simplify the following algebraic expression. So pretty much the main thing you're going to do is distribute and then combine any like terms you see. And then if you see any other parentheses that need to be used, you'll go ahead and follow the same pattern of distributing and then combining like terms. So for the first one, I see that 3 times the negative n plus 2 minus 5. So I could go ahead and start distributing, but actually if you look inside the parentheses, notice you can combine the 2 and the negative 5. Let's go ahead and do that first. Always simplify if you can. The good rule of thumb, make life simpler for yourself. Okay, so we did that, simplified there. Now we can go ahead, since inside the parentheses there's nothing else to do, we can go ahead and distribute the 3. So distributing the 3, and then we will get, so 3 times negative n is going to be negative 3n. And then 3 times negative 3 is going to be, not positive, negative 9. And then plus 6. All right, let's see. Can we distribute anything or can we combine any like terms? Well, we have the negative 9 and the 6. We can combine those. So that'll be negative 3n minus 3. Now, can we distribute anything or combine like terms? Nope. So we're done. Now, let's look at B. Whoa, that one has a ton of parentheses. So just don't worry. You're going to go and you're going to look at the innermost parenthesis. Take a moment and try to find the innermost parentheses. Okay, so the innermost parentheses is this one right here. So the same plan as I did before for this one over here, for A, can I simplify anything inside the parentheses? Well, it's just x minus 7, so those aren't like terms, so I can't do that. So my next plan is to distribute if I can. Which I can, is that 4. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute. And we have 2, bracket, 3 minus, let's see, so that's going to be 4x minus 4 times negative 7, 28. And then bring down that minus 3. Close the bracket. Plus 2x, and then a braces. All right, so plan as usual. See if we can find the innermost parenthesis and simplify it. So where's the innermost parenthesis? Right, oops, I don't like that. Right there. Can we simplify that? Well, if you'll notice, the negative 28 and the 3, those guys can be simplified together. We can combine that like term. So let's go ahead and I'm going to first do everything else. All right, so now you have 4x. Combining the negative 28 and negative 3 is going to be negative 31 plus 2x. All right. Well, we did all we could for the innermost parentheses, so the next thing to do, since we can't do anything else, is see if we can distribute. Which we can. We can distribute that negative into our brackets. All right, let's go ahead and write things down. Negative 2 times the 3. Okay, it's going to be plus. So that'll be negative 4. Notice I'm using some parentheses here because I have the negatives running around. So negative times negative 31 is going to be positive 31. And then plus 2x. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this and drop the parentheses around the negative 4x plus 31 plus 2x. All right, now let's look at our innermost parentheses. Actually, we only have one. Well, not parentheses, it's a grouping symbol. So you're going to focus on the innermost grouping symbol, which would be this one here. Do we have any like terms? Yeah, we do. We have the 3 and the 31. And then we have the negative 4x and the 2x. So take a moment, see if you can combine those like terms, and pause the video, check your answer with me in a sec. Alright, so we have 2 times the 3 and the 31, that's going to be 34. And the negative 4 and the, is that a positive 2, is going to be negative 2x. Alright, last thing, so we have simplified the inside of this grouping symbol. So all we can do now is distribute if we can. And yep, we can. We have that 2 being multiplied. Go ahead and distribute that. And then we get, 34 times 2. What is that going to be? I don't have my calculator as handy. What is that going to be? 68? Yeah. And then minus 4x. All right. So ask ourselves, are we done? Well, do we have any like terms to combine? No. Do we have any parentheses to distribute over? Nope. So we're done. Okay, so notice there tends to be a pattern of distribute, combine, distribute, combine, distribute, combine until you're done. That's basically kind of what happens in a pattern there. So let's take a look at C. Okay, so now for this one, we don't actually have an innermost parentheses. It's a little different than B. For this one, we just have 2 separate parentheses going on. We've got this one and this one. And when we look inside both of them, there are no like terms to combine. So the only thing we can do, well, we can't combine these, we can't combine these, and then these guys here can't be combined either. So the only option we have is to distribute. It's the only move we can make right now. And if you're forced into a corner and you need to make a move, here we go. It's the one move we can do. All right, here we go. So 2x minus 2y. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Equals negative 6x minus 9. Oh, that's a plus sign. Take that back. Positive 6x plus 9 minus 3y plus 4. Okay, now we are done with all the parentheses. So no more distribution. All we can do is combine like terms. So let's go ahead and see what like terms we have. Well, I have the 2x and there's another x value. I have my y's and another y right here. And last but not least, I have my regular number values. All right, so let's go ahead and combine these. 2x, 2x plus 6x is going to be 8x. Negative 2y minus 3y. Negative 5y. And then 9 and 4 is going to be 13. Okay, well, we combined all the like terms that we had, and we didn't have anything else to distribute, so we're done. All right, not too bad. So let's go ahead and look at some applications. In your part-time job, your hours vary each week period last month. Each week period. Oh, there's supposed to be a period right after period. Sorry for my notes. Looks like there's a few errors in this one, actually. Last month, you worked 22 hours for the first week, 25 hours the second week. Ooh, I need to go ahead and edit these. The second week, 14 hours the third week, and 19 hours the 14th week. Your gross pay for these 4 weeks was $960. All right, for part A, let P represent your hourly pay rate. Write the equation for your gross pay over these 4 weeks. Well, starting this out, we know that P is our hourly pay rate, and we also know that we're trying to write an equation for gross pay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pick a variable for gross pay. I'm going to say let G equal to gross pay. And I want an equation in terms of my hourly, I read an equation for my gross pay over these 4 weeks. Well, I know the first week I worked 22 hours. The second week I worked 25. Third week was 14. And the fourth week was 19 hours. So let's say you made $5. Let's do an example on the side here. If you made $5 an hour and you worked for 10 hours, how much money did you make? So $5 an hour for 10 hours. You would have made $50. How'd you do that? Well, you times the dollar amount by the number of hours. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Here's my hours, and I want to times them by how much I earn each hour. But do I know how much I earn each hour? I don't. All I know is that I'm representing that amount by P. So 22 times P, whatever it is, that would give me how much money I earned in 22 hours. Same thing for 25, 14, and 19. Now I want to find the total over these 4 weeks. So total means the addition of all these. Well, I can just go ahead and add up these, because they're all like terms actually. Well, if I add them all up, 22 plus 25 plus 14 plus 19, what does that give me? That gives me 80p. So I worked 80 hours, and 80 times however much I make an hour will give me my gross pay. So my gross pay is going to equal 80 times P. So for part B, it says solve the equation in part A to determine your hourly pay rate. So I want to find my hourly pay rate, which would be P. Right? Because up there, that was my hourly pay rate. So I want to solve for P. So here's my equation, G equals 80p, but right now we have two variables. That's not helping us. Do I know what my gross pay was? Because G is my gross pay. Do we know what that was? Yeah, we do. It was $960. So we can go ahead and substitute that in. So we can take that out and we'll substitute $960 equals 80p. And now we can solve for P. So dividing both by P. Oops, sorry, not dividing by P, dividing by 80. We can get P by itself. Rewriting this, I have, just switching it around a little, P equals 96 divided by 8, which is going to equal 12. And P was my hourly rate, so I am paid, or my hourly pay rate is $12 an hour. Okay, please remember on your exam notes to write your equations for your word problems, because writing your equations is one of the foundations requirements for this course to be able to, one, verbally and in written form explain your mathematics. And it also shows that you can understand the context for the problem. Alright, so last problem for this section. You are a sales associate in a large retail electronics store. Over the first 3 months of the year, you sold 12, I'm assuming that many the first month, 15 the second month, and 21 Propix digital cameras in the third month. The total sales from those cameras was $18,960. So the first part, let P represent the price. Okay, so here we go. We have a variable popping up. P represent the price of one Propix digital camera. Write the equation for total sales over the 3 months. Okay, so I want an equation in terms of total sales. So I'm going to say let T equal total sales. Well, I know T is going to equal, well, we don't know how much we sold each camera for. But if I sold a camera for $100, one camera, and I sold 3 of those cameras, how much money would I make? I would make $300. How did you get that? Well, you times the amount you sold the camera by the number that you sold. So for example, if I sold 12 cameras, for $10 each, I would just do 12 times 10 to find out how much I made. 120. But we don't actually know how much we sold each camera for. We don't know that. All we know is that we're representing it with P. So once again, like the problem we did earlier, we're just going to go ahead and do 12 times our variable. So we can go ahead and do that. But we didn't just sell 12 cameras, we sold 15 and 21. So we have 12 times however much they each sold for, 15 times however much they sold for, and 21 times however much they sold for. And now those are all like terms, so we can go ahead and add them up. 12 plus 15 plus 21, 48. So T equals 48P. And there we have my equation in terms of total sales. So for B, we want to solve this equation to find the retail price of the Propix digital camera. So you want to solve to find retail price, and retail price was P. So we want to solve T equals 48P for P. But once again, we run into the problem where we have two variables in this equation. We can't solve for P if we don't know what T is. Do we know what T is? Well, yeah, try read the problem and see if you can determine what T is. Well, we know T is the total sales, and the total sales was right here, 18,960. We can go ahead and replace that in our equation, 18,960. And we get our new equation, 18,960 equals 48P. So solving for P, I'll go ahead and divide both sides by 48. I'll go ahead and plug this into my calculator. 18,960 divided by 48, and I get 395. All right, and remember, this is a word problem, so I need to answer in terms of a sentence. So what did P stand for? P was the price of one Propix digital camera. So my answer will be the retail price of one Propix camera is or was, remember the unit sign there, the dollar sign in our case, $395. And there we go, and that is it. Yep, that is it. Please email me if you have any questions or need help with the homework.